Yo, man, I like listening to you speak, man, and I think you say some things that make a lot of sense. I don't get into the Bible or Christianity myself, and a lot of the times my projection as an individual is against their teachings. But the way that you communicate is that Bible is ours and up to our own interpretation, and that makes a lot of sense. Um, Still, by way of my comprehension, my understanding, I believe that the information in the Bible leads to a lack of ability to progress as and I believe we need to make up a new name for ourselves for racial purposes as black men in our history. I think there are several issues regarding that book that we've been using for this long regarding our teachings. Now, let me start off by saying for certain that there shouldn't be any obstacle that challenges our will. Okay, so we can start off there. With that said, we utilize what we have for the time being. But after coming to specific understanding, there's things that need to change. Now, in my understanding, to begin, there are several stories in the Bible of Christianity that come from the people in Africa, the Israelites, Hebrews. Those stories come together and they create this, what they call Holy Bible. But you need to understand that when you communicate this information, that the man that put that Bible together and put it in your hand is wicked. Okay? Because no matter how you look at it, when you go into that Bible, your thoughts are going to be captivated. Okay? Start off with an understanding for the way that it's written on the cover itself. Okay? Look at holy. All the letters aren't there. Because when I think of holy, the one God, I separate myself from all religions, and I think of holy by the way that it's written in my dictionary. Holy is spelled Wholly. Okay? So now I got two letters missing from my established work for teaching. Alright? Now, without going through all of the possibilities for those letters being missed, and then opening up the book in the beginning. The first things that I read, aside from the one who is holy speaking, to challenge all substance and matter by way of creation is as life is becoming humanistic, that man bigot, 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 over and over again. And then spell or pronounce begot. Okay? It took many years to establish a way to trap you and then force you onto a boat and then bring you to another continent. Right? On top of the fact that we are extremely aware that the force to cause you to believe in this Holy Bible was not of welcoming spirit. Those people killed to cause your belief. And then when you were taken and they brought you here, aside from the poison that they fed you to get you here, and the murdering and the abuse and the sickening and the lack of nourishment and the lack of water, your inability to your inability to procreate by the time you got here, everything was stripped from you. Now, as more people come over, after they've stolen the land, warred the people that were here, and forced by way of mechanism and then system you to work for them, because they couldn't, especially because they couldn't work in our sun. As they brought others here to the United States of America, those people were more apt to revolt. See, they were the same skin color, so they had this ability to get close to the people who were what you would call on top at the time, and literally had no fear due to the skin color by way of the written Bible or any other systematic complexity. And so, as we gain an understanding for the actualities versus the fiction. We look further into the Bible and start having an understanding for the views that are projected, and everything from abuse to murder to it's constantly talked about in the Bible, many times without punishment, and when we are forced to view this in the New Testament, this what they call man, which if we go back, actually is an answer of the Son, our Son, that we are capable of working in, that we are capable of absorbing, that gives us vitamin D and energy. Is a relation to this man they call Jesus or Jesus. Now, aside from the solstice and all these other things that have to do with time, they have us pictured in writing. The dark skin, the hair, the beard, as the individual who will stand against them, their system. And because we stand against their system, they will beat us into a bloody murder, while they have us in that thinking to create the slavery. Everyone that is aware, not even capable of explaining, not even capable of articulating, not even capable of breaking it down in this fashion, willing just to keep position, to follow through. Now, you, with the God-given gene, the chosen one, we, the chosen people, with that gene, we have a tendency not to look at these people in this fashion. They're actually a part of us, and we know this. We're capable genetically of producing every gene on the planet. They can't produce any. Okay? So that's where our lack of anger when we see these people comes from, aside from the hypnotism that comes along in that Bible. Because with that Bible comes language. Okay? And aside from the bigotry and the abuse and all that written about us, the subliminal standpoint, by way of a picture, a white man, and then call him the King of all kings and the Lord of all lords, and then have little subliminals in the language that depict him as the leader. You see, it's not a superiority. It is an inferiority complex. It is a will that enables, by way of thought, and as it enables, it also causes. And anytime we go into that Bible and start reading it, we are susceptible to that man's thinking. For this punishment, the crimes that have been committed against man on this soil are more severe than anything I've ever heard in the last 500 to 1,000 years. I can't even imagine the amount of agony and anxiety that man, that prejudiced man, that racist man has put people through without reason. You see, in an intelligent society, excuse my speech, in an intelligent society, we must have an understanding. Understanding simplistic. Okay. First and foremost, we must stand for well-being. Okay. And then we need to break down what well-being actually is. Because in all reality, what they offer literally causes issue. Okay? And it's blamed on a science, and that science is not religion, it's marketing. Right? And so what's involved in well-being? We need to talk about that. Okay? So then you have your primary needs, and you have your secondary needs, and you have your passive secondary needs. And I in my mind, should be inclusive of utilities as well as toilet paper itself. But without having that as an understanding, without understanding why well-being, and without being able to break down well-being and go back and see the subliminal and why it's taken away and how it's taken away, we open up that Bible and wait for a Jesus to come that never shows. Okay? Now, in my mind, I understand that racist man will destroy our son if he doesn't get his way. Our son. Our energy. That which gives us life upon this planet. But we're feeble. We're humble people. We have an understanding that there's only a certain amount of time if we don't seek to reach further. And we are people of the planet, and we are capable of replenishing the planet. They are not. So due to our fear, at understanding, we have actually allowed them to hurt us to the point where they have gone to our mother, the mother Africa, and literally begun to absorb our resources and tell us of their value and only welcome us into the value with their belief. And as long as we, as individuals, worship in the same fashion and are willing to subject our own people to the same negative that they are, then we're welcome. Okay? Now, subliminals like freedom. When you take two words, free, things like free will and freedom together, and we lose conscious thought as for what will is, the connection of the mind. We never get to understand it. We never get to say it out loud. We never get to say that people are pressured by way of our prayer. We never get to understand what prayer actually is, why everybody talks about psychic ability and the third eye and those things. We never get to say that stuff out loud. Why? Because that's slavery within our system. Needs to come into play if you're capable and willing to think. Did you hear what I said? That's slavery. Needs to come into play. Well, how does it come into play? Well, if you're willing to think, then I'm going to offer you drugs. And those drugs are going to make you fat, and they're going to slow you down, and they're not going to help you to live a longer life. Some of them will take your limbs. They will cause you to lose your gums. You'll be forgetful. You will turn into an addict. You will be angry and upset with people that look like you, and you will hate people that don't look like you. But you won't be able to fight those people that don't look like you because they won't be around you. You'll be stuck. You'll be smoking. You'll be doing other drugs, heavy drugs, alcohol. And those substances will go into your body, and without those substances, instead of thinking of your progress, you'll be a lost soul. You won't know what to look for. You won't know what to think. And so we need to wake up. And say we start talking about wake up, and why are we talking about conscious and all these things? And a lot of brothers are talking about their consciousness and all that kind of stuff, and they're not really conscious, man. They're still doing the drugs. They're still willing to remain susceptible to the white man's, I'm sorry, not the white man, but the prejudiced man's pressures. Because we need to understand, black is not our color. Okay? As long as we're not in that sun, it's definitely never been our color. Okay? And even when we were in that sun, man, it was a dark brown. Okay? And so those words are a sophisticated way of causing our issues and causing our separation and making us fight each other and making us stand against each other as humans versus standing for our well-being. Now, we talk about well-being again. Let's add some things that we need to have understanding for, because we talk about well-being, we talk about a system, we talk about governing, and we talk about people who are within that governmental structure who have failed to have an understanding that is necessary to govern humans. You see, we need to know that there is an infinite amount of dimensions. Dimensions are the laws that hold us together as people. We need to know about frequencies. We need to know about pyramids. We need to know about the atmosphere and how it breaks down. It's an infinite breakdown of our atmosphere. Well, if there's an infinite breakdown, that would definitely mean vice versa, it's also infinite. Okay. And so, with that as an understanding, then we're able to say, well, there's an infinite amount of dimensions, then there must be an unlimited amount of possibilities. Why do you say that? Well, if there's infinite amount of dimensions, and space just goes out, then there's free will, and with free will, then we can make any decision we want, right? So if we can make any decision we want, then we don't have to settle for slavery. Okay, and so that means no more pills, no more lack of nourishment, no more lack of hydration, no more abuse. And the negative will that's forced upon humans is extremely unnecessary, except for that man that's in charge is extremely incapable. He's not been capable nor willing. He has run from his continent, incapable, come to this continent, barbaric, and force you to work for him. Then cause you to dwell on the bottom if you didn't agree with his bullshit. He's a liar, a cheater, and a con. But he takes position. As a people, we are going to need to take our own position back. And they are at liberty to offer that to the human. So as they step into governance, because now is the time we are actually changing into a whole new world, this whole new economy. It was introduced in the 80s, and now it's flowing through into the 2000s, and now we have what we need to become an intelligent society, and all the people that love the Bible that are dark skinned. Will need to try to keep up by way of understanding. See, when they subliminally told us that things were changing, they brought up stamps. They said that we got black historic stamps now, which will be worth a lot of money someday. The slavery stamps, the people that led the former slaves, are going to be on the stamps now. They never told us that we were transitioning into technology, and if we put money into that technology, we would progress much faster than those who are incapable of understanding. Just like today, with the new economy, the new world order, they won't be telling us that either. And so those who were incapable of learning to use technology will not progress. Okay, so now, in this coming new world order, this what we would call new society, we need to have a realization that we need to stand for our well-being, and that anybody that is to govern needs to have that as an understanding as well, because that's what they need to be offering you and me as a people. Now, know that this COVID-19 is just the beginning. It's just the beginning, man. This COVID-19 is the test for their system that they're putting together that should be for everyone. But won't be. And there's so many things that are going on that a person with capability can see. That somebody that has been doing drugs, been fighting to survive, is incapable of thinking. For instance, there's a new token. It's programmable. Once that token is programmed, in some cases, by way of a contract, it can't be stopped. Okay, what do I mean by that? Well, in this token, we're able to program it for things like, if a person doesn't pay their rent on time, lock the doors. You have up until the 5th to pay your rent. If it's not paid by the 10th, you won't be able to go into your home. Right? And that prejudiced man is in control of that situation. And that entire legal system, the whole justice system, is backing his fake ass up. That fake ass motherfucker that smiles in your face with a beautiful grin and takes your teeth by way of those drugs is backed up by a person wearing a black dress. To commit a dirty deed, an offense against you. So now you can't get into your home. You're stuck. Okay? And I don't know how many issues of prejudice you've had to come across, but I've been in combat with this racist man for a long time, man. And several times for absolutely no fault of my own. 95+% of the time, no fault of my own. A diagnosis of a mental illness, not due to fault of my own, to offer me more slavery. I'm one that's capable. So with time, sooner or later, I'm going to overcome the obstacles. But there's far too many people around me that won't. If we don't start offering them the proper information. And I don't think that comes with that Christianity or that Bible. It's just my own opinion, though. So like I say, it doesn't matter the religion. Doesn't matter the religion. We are strong enough to overcome any obstacle.